I shouldn't even be saying this. I shouldn't even be thinking about him right now. But the truth is, his face is carved into the walls of my memory, and his touch still burns my skin even though he's long gone. It started one late evening, in a room where I swore I would never allow temptation to conquer me. His hands were too close, his breath too warm against my ear, and the way he whispered my name made me forget for a moment that I was somebody's wife. I remember leaning back against the counter, the wine glass in my hand trembling. His fingers brushed mine, innocent at first, but when I didn't pull away, they lingered. The heat in his eyes left me stripped of reason, left me craving something that I thought was buried deep inside me. Right there, in the soft hum of jazz, with the taste of Cabernet heavy on my tongue, I almost surrendered. His lips hovered over mine, his body urging me closer. My pulse was racing, and all I could think was, this isn't right. This can't be happening. But it was happening. And before I take you deeper into this story, let me pause here. Backhand index pointing right. If you're listening to my confession, please subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, and share this video. Trust me, what you're about to hear isn't just a story. It's a piece of my life, a secret I could never tell anyone else. Back to the beginning. My name doesn't matter here. Call me anonymous. That's the only way I can share this without falling apart. Because I'm married. I wear a ring that tells the world I belong to someone. And yet, that night proved that belonging and desiring aren't always the same. I first met him at a small gathering, a backyard barbecue in Brooklyn. The air smelled of grilled meat and freshly cut grass, and laughter floated across the warm summer evening. I was standing beside my husband, smiling politely, but I felt invisible. He had his co-workers around, men he joked with and women he admired from a distance, his attention scattered everywhere except on me. That's when I noticed him. He wasn't loud. He wasn't trying to take up space. He just stood there, beer in hand, watching people with this easy confidence that made me notice him. And when his eyes caught mine, something dangerous sparked. He smiled. Not the casual, polite kind of smile you throw across a room. No. This smile was meant for me. I looked away quickly, clutching the paper plate in my hand as if it were a shield. But deep down, I already knew something had shifted. Later that evening, when my husband wandered off to talk business with another man, he approached me. "You don't look like you want to be here," he said softly. I forced a laugh. Is it that obvious? Only to someone paying attention. That line, it sounds simple, maybe even cliché. But in that moment, it was everything. Someone was paying attention to me. Someone was watching me, not through the lens of expectation, but through raw curiosity. We talked. About music. About tea. Travel. About food. And with every word, I felt my guard lowering. My husband came back eventually, draped his arm over my shoulder like I was a possession, not a person. The stranger, him, just gave me a look. A look that said, "I see you. And I know you feel this too." That was the first spark. But sparks, if fed, turn into fire. After that night, I told myself it was nothing. Just a conversation. Just a moment of harmless attention. But the truth is, I couldn't stop thinking about him. Every time I looked at my husband, I felt emptier. Every time I remembered his eyes, I felt alive. Days turned into weeks, and fate, or maybe temptation, kept crossing our paths. He knew mutual friends of ours. We bumped into each other at coffee shops, at casual get-togethers, even once at the grocery store. Each time, the conversation grew longer, more intimate. And each time, I felt myself walking further into dangerous territory. I knew I shouldn't have given him my number. But when he asked, I didn't hesitate. And when the first text came, "Thinking of you," I didn't delete it. I stared at it for hours, feeling guilt and excitement battling inside me. That was the start of the fire. I'll never forget the night he first touched me in a way that broke every promise I'd ever made. It was raining, and I had told my husband I was working late. In reality, I was in his apartment, dripping wet from the storm, staring at him like I'd been starving and he was my only meal. "Why are we doing this?" I whispered. His answer was simple. "Because we can't stop." And just like that, his lips claimed mine. That was the beginning of everything. That was the beginning of the affair that would change my life. But before I take you further, before I tell you how I went from his lust to his memory, let me remind you. Backhand index pointing right, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share it. Because this confession isn't just about me. It's about the things we bury, the secrets we all carry, and the fire we sometimes can't resist. The first time he kissed me, I swore it would be the last. But sin has a strange way of tasting too sweet. One bite, one lick, one kiss, and suddenly you're starving for more. That's how it was with him. His lips ruined me. His hands rebuilt me. And the woman I thought I was, she vanished in his arms that night. I remember pressing my back against his door, rain dripping from my hair onto his floor. He leaned in, his mouth devouring mine, and for the first time in years, I felt wanted. Not tolerated. Not taken for granted. Wanted. And it wasn't just the physical part, though God knows, that was intoxicating. It was the way he looked at me, like every inch of me was his secret treasure. His kiss wasn't just lips on lips, it was a storm. It stripped me of every layer of guilt, until only hunger was left. I knew I should have pulled away. I knew I should have walked out into the rain and begged forgiveness from myself. But when he whispered against my skin, "Stay," I obeyed. That night became the first of many. By day, I was the faithful wife. Smiling, cooking, attending dinners, pretending like my heart wasn't burning. By night, I was his. I slipped into his sheets like they were made for me. And each time I left his apartment, guilt clung to me like a second skin. Still, the craving didn't stop. It only grew stronger. He became an addiction. A drug I couldn't quit. We met in places we shouldn't, cheap motels, his car parked far away from familiar streets, sometimes even at mutual friends' homes, sneaking away like thieves. Each time, the risk made it hotter. Each time, the fear of being caught made the fire between us blaze higher. I told myself it was just lust. Just something my body needed. But somewhere along the line, it became more. His texts kept me awake at night. His calls pulled me out of bed when I should have been curled beside my husband. His voice was the lullaby I didn't know I needed. And the deeper I fell, the more I vanished from the woman I used to be. One afternoon, I found myself in front of a mirror, fixing my lipstick before meeting him. My hands were shaking, my stomach tight. I asked myself, what are you doing? Who are you becoming? But when I saw him later, when he pressed me against the elevator wall and kissed me like I was oxygen, all the questions disappeared. All the answers were in the way he held me. I wanted him. I needed him. And nothing else mattered. Let me pause here. Backhand index pointing right if you're listening, don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. These confessions, they're not just stories. They're truths people like me keep locked away. And here, I can finally breathe them out. But with every kiss, every touch, every night spent tangled in him, the danger grew. Because no matter how much we thought we were careful, secrets have a way of slipping out. And in the quiet moments, when the fire settled, I began to wonder. What happens when the lust fades? Will I still be his? Or will I only be his memory? The deeper I sank into him, the harder it became to breathe in my own house. My husband's questions were small at first. Innocent. Why are you home late? You've been distracted lately, is everything okay? He didn't know that his words made my heart pound, not from love but from fear. Because every time he asked, I thought, this is it. He knows. But he didn't. Not yet. That afternoon, I sat in a cafe across town, waiting for him. My coffee went cold as I kept glancing at the door, terrified someone familiar would walk in and see us. My heart shouldn't have been racing like that, but when he finally arrived, the panic was gone. His smile was enough to make me forget the world. He slid into the seat across from me, reached under the table, and touched my hand like it was his right. And just like that, my fear melted. "Why do you keep risking this?" I whispered, half pleading, half teasing. "Because you're worth it," he said. And maybe that was the problem. I wanted to believe it. I wanted to believe that what we had wasn't just lust, but something real. Something worth betraying vows, risking everything. Nights with him felt like stolen time. The kind you know you shouldn't have, but you hold on to anyway. I'd lie in his arms, skin still burning from him, and wonder how long we could keep living this double life. Every kiss was louder. Every touch was heavier. Every lie to my husband got sharper. And yet, I couldn't stop. One night, while lying in his bed, I asked him, "Do you ever think about the future? About us?" He brushed his lips across my shoulder, smirking. "The future is now. You're here. That's all that matters." But to me, it wasn't enough. I wanted more than stolen hours. More than whispers in the dark. I wanted him completely. Still, deep down, I knew, I'd never have him fully. And that truth hurt more than the guilt. In the middle of all this heat, I need to remind you. Backhand index pointing right. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Because stories like this, confessions no one dares speak out loud, only live if you keep them alive. The tension grew worse one evening when my husband called while I was still in his arms. I froze, phone buzzing in my hand, his chest rising against my back as he whispered, "Answer it." And I did. My voice steady, my lies smoother than I thought possible. I told my husband I was out with friends. Meanwhile, his hand never left my thigh, testing my strength, testing my will. When I hung up, my heart was racing so hard I thought it would burst. But instead of guilt tearing me apart, desire did. I turned in his arms, kissed him harder than ever, because in that moment I realized, I was already too far gone. The walls were closing in. The more I loved him, the more dangerous it became. And though he kept telling me, "We're safe, no one knows," I felt the shadow of discovery inching closer. And sometimes, in the quiet after the storm of us, I caw. Will I still be his? Or will I only be his memory? The more I tried to balance him and my husband, the more the walls of my double life shook. It wasn't just the stolen hours anymore. It wasn't just the secret touches. He had become a craving I couldn't silence. And every time I tried to pull away, he pulled me back in with his lips, his hands, his promises that never really promised anything. One evening, my husband reached across the dinner table, smiling at me with those eyes that once made me feel safe. But instead of comfort, guilt stabbed at me. His hand was warm, yet all I could think about was the fire of another man's touch still lingering on my skin. I smiled back, pretended, laughed when I needed to. But inside, I was unraveling. The man who owned my nights wasn't easing the storm. He was feeding it. I remember one afternoon in his apartment. We hadn't even made it past the door. His mouth claimed mine with such force that my purse hit the floor, my back pressed against the wall. Breathless, dizzy, I clung to him as if he were the only real thing in my life. "You drive me insane," I gasped. "And you," he murmured against my neck, "you keep coming back for more." And he was right. No matter how dangerous, how wrong, it was always more. But danger doesn't stay hidden forever. One night, while lying tangled in his sheets, I checked my phone and froze. Dozens of missed calls from my husband. A cold fear ripped through me, but he pulled the phone out of my hand and tossed it aside. "Forget him," he whispered. "You're mine right now." I let him kiss me, let him devour me, but in the back of my mind, I knew I was walking a tightrope, and the fall was coming. Kiss Mark and hey, while I pour my heart into these confessions, don't forget, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share it. Stories like this one, raw, unfiltered, forbidden, they deserve to be heard. Kiss mark. The lies grew sharper. The passion grew hotter. And the cracks in my marriage grew wider. At times, I thought about stopping, ending it before it destroyed me. But the truth was simple, I didn't want to. He had me addicted. His lips, his scent, his reckless way of making me forget who I was. I wasn't just betraying my vows anymore. I was betraying myself. That's when the fear turned into something worse, obsession. Because I knew, deep down, this couldn't last. But still. I wanted every last drop of him before it all came crashing down. I always knew it would end. I just never thought it would end like this. That night is burned into my mind, my skin still remembers, my lips still ache. He had called me over with that deep, dangerous tone, and I couldn't resist. No matter how many excuses I gave myself, I still found my car parked outside his place, heart racing, body trembling with the hunger I swore I'd quit. Inside, he was waiting. No words, no hesitation. His hands gripped me as if he owned me, as if he'd been starving for days. The kiss he gave me was bruising, wild, a claim that went beyond flesh. And I let him take all of me, again and again, until exhaustion blurred into surrender. Stay with me tonight, he whispered against my damp skin. But I couldn't. I had a husband at home. A family. A life that was supposed to be mine. I can't, I murmured. My throat tightened. We're fire, but fire doesn't last forever. He stared at me, anger mixed with desperation. So that's it? After everything? I touched his cheek, memorizing him with trembling fingers. You'll always be the one I remember. But I can't be yours. Not out loud. Not forever. And that was the last time. I drove home in silence, my body aching not from pleasure but from absence. My husband was asleep when I slipped into bed. He didn't stir, didn't ask questions. The house was quiet, but my heart was chaos. From that night on, I became two people, his secret lover in memory, and a wife no one suspected. Sometimes, when I'm alone, I close my eyes and still feel his hands. I still hear his voice calling me back. And though I'll never see him again, though I had to let him vanish from my days, in my nights, he lingers. He was my lust. Now, he's my memory. Kiss mark if my story held you, if it pulled you into the heat, the heartbreak, the madness, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and share this video with someone who loves forbidden stories. I have more secrets to tell, and trust me, you don't want to miss them. Kiss mark. Kiss mark, and that was us, two bodies colliding, two souls burning, two hearts that never belonged to each other, yet refused to let go. He was never mine to keep, and I was never his to claim. Still, in those stolen nights, we tasted forever. Even now, when I close my eyes, I feel his lips, his hunger, his reckless lust devouring me as if I was the only woman in the world. Fire, if this story made your heart race, if it made your skin ache with that forbidden fire, don't just leave quietly. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and share this with someone who dares to crave the taste of hidden passion. Your support keeps my secrets alive, and trust me, the next confession will be even hotter. Broken heart, he was my lust. Now, he's my memory. But maybe, your click, your subscribe, your love here, keeps me brave enough to tell you the next time I lost myself in another man's arms.